iHeart, get ready. Fantasy football is here. Welcome to the Scout Fantasy Show. ScoutFantasy.com is home to the Fantasy Football World Championships and the best players in the world. Real money winners giving their secrets to help you win. Now exclusively on iHeart. This is the Scout Fantasy Show with your host, the one, the only, Dr. Roto.
It's Dr. Roto. Get out the insurance cards. Get out the copay. The office is open, my friends. So before I get to today's podcast preview, just telling you I'm doing a couple of scout drafts here. I'm in the sixth round of one draft and go plus, and another one literally just started. I am the third pick in this one. Mike Trout went one. Going to see who team two takes as the second, and I'll take the third. I'm trying to decide here. So, I've got it down to Altuve, Trey Turner, Nolan Arenado. I don't know which way I'm going to go. I can make a case for all three of these guys. Altuve, obviously, such a great player, power, speed combination, great team. Trey Turner, how many guys can steal you 70 bases and hit 15 to 20 home runs? And Arenado, the guy's like money for 40 home runs and 130 RBIs every single season. So, I have to think about this one. Very, very close. But so if you are not a part of it, go to playffwc.com right now and get into our 44s or 88s. It's 44 rounds, okay? 44 rounds, and it ends on September 2nd this year. There's no trading. There's no collusion. There's no pickups during the year. It's basically what you do is reserve and active moves all year. 44 rounds, guy gets hurt. So you better draft appropriately and make sure that you have the right backups. That's how you have to do it. If not, you're in big trouble. So I think these drafts are great. They're great draft preparation, right? They're terrific preparation for your leagues because here at 44 rounds, by round 44, I'm picking some guys I've never heard of before, right? I'm picking like the eighth guy in AA somewhere. So for some random team. So I think that you got to be careful with that and really try to, it helps you prepare for your home leagues because you have the depth of knowledge that other people don't have. And look, it's $44 or it's $88, and we literally give out like a 95% payout or something like that. So check it out. PlayFFWC.com. I really think that you'll love what we're doing there. All right, so let's take a look at the Chicago Cubs podcast preview, the Cubbies. First of all, at catcher, Wilson, 2 L's in Wilson. Contreras, not one L, put 2. So here's the thing about Wilson Contreras. If you can't get yourself Gary Sanchez, you may want to get yourself Wilson Contreras. He's like Gary Sanchez light. 25 home runs, 80 RBIs, hit about 280. Sanchez is better. But Sanchez is going to cost you a second-round pick. It's going to cost you a second-round pick. And Wilson Contreras won't. So I like me some Wilson Contreras. I think he's a really good, solid, young catcher. Go get him. Now, the problem with Wilson Contreras is this. If you wait till round 6, he could be gone. But round 5 may be too early. So you have to be at the right spot of your draft to get him. Watch that closely. At first base is Anthony Rizzo. And I want to read you the last 3 years. 31 home runs, 100 RBIs, 278. 32 home runs, 109 RBIs, 292. 32 home runs, 109 RBIs, 273. He is as consistent as they come. I like Rizzo to have a big year, and I'll tell you this. He's from Parkland, Florida. And by the way, what happened in Parkland is so sad, such a tragedy. But I love the fact that Rizzo, I think he has something to play for this year. I think that he's going to have a big year on behalf of his hometown. And, I don't know, maybe he'll give him money for every home run he hits. Who knows what he's going to do? But I think I look at him and think this could be one of those guys who has a really good year because he wants to make an impact. So keep an eye on that. At second base is Javier Baez. And Javier Baez started out as a guy, he was underperforming, didn't do enough, but he's slowly turning into a really good player. He had 23 home runs last year, hit 273, has some speed, plays in a few different positions. He played second base and shortstop, a little first, even played a game in the outfield, a little third base. I wouldn't call him a utility man, but, this team is deep. You have Ben Zobrist and you had Tommy La Stella. I could see Javi Baez being moved around depending on injuries, whether Kris Bryant would get hurt or Addison Russell gets hurt. Javi Baez can move around. If Kris Bryant gets hurt, Baez goes to third, Zobrist goes to second. Simple. Addison Russell gets hurt, Baez goes to short, Zobrist goes to second. So, you need players like Javi Baez. I like him. I don't love him, but I like him. I think he's a solid player. Addison Russell, to me, is a really, really good post-hype sleeper. Really, really good post-hype sleeper. So let's talk about that. Addison Russell in 2016 had 20 home runs and 95 RBIs, but hit .238. So of course you think he's going to be better, right, in 2017. But he wasn't. He dealt with shoulder injuries. He had foot injuries. He just never got started and had the big year. So he dropped to .239, which is similar to the year before, but he only had 12 home runs and 43 RBIs. And now people are like, ooh, this guy stinks, I don't like him. He's 24. This is a guy who 2 years ago had 95 RBIs. Does he start to suck because of that? No. I think you can get him at a discount. I like Addison Russell. If he could only hit me .270, I'd love Addison Russell. So keep a close eye on him. I'm a fan. Kris Bryant, third baseman. So this was interesting. Kris Bryant hit from the 2-hole last year. And where you hit in the batting order is so very important because you're going to get fewer RBIs. The guy only had 73 RBIs last year. He didn't really steal bases. He had 29 home runs. He had a lot of runs scored. So there's trade-offs. You bat high in the order, you have fewer RBI opportunities, more runs scored opportunities. So if you were counting on Bryant for 35 and 100, you may not get that if he's batting second. But he may get you 100 runs scored and only 80 RBIs. So take a look in the spring where he's batting in the order. So if you're counting on him for RBIs, you may be disappointed, right? You may be disappointed if he's batting second. So let's take a look at the Cubs outfield. First of all, it's Ian Happ. Ian Happ came up and hit the ball. This dude hit the ball. This guy in DFS some nights was on fire. Had 24 home runs and 364 at-bats. This guy's got all sorts of power, and I'm a big Ian Happ fan. But, not the best defensive player. And Albert Almora is a very good defensive player. It wouldn't shock me to see Almora come in the late innings and take Happ out. If that happens, Happ is getting 3 at-bats per game and not 4. Or 4 at-bats a game, not 5. This could mean at the end of the year, instead of getting 600 at-bats, he has 493. Big difference in those 107 at-bats could be 10, 12 home runs. So don't look at Happ and project it out and saying this guy's going to hit 45 home runs. He may only get 100 more at-bats than last year. There's something about Kyle Schwarber, though, that I really like. Kyle Schwarber is a great hitter. He just has to put it all together. He used to hit for average when he was in the minors. Then he came up to the majors and he's trying to be a home run hitter. Well, he's not a 211 hitter with 30 home runs. I think he could be a 250 hitter with 30 home runs. He's going to come at a discount because I think a lot of people are going to look at the average and not want any part of that. I get it. I'm willing to take a shot on him. Do you know why? Skills. He's got skills. And you can't teach what he can do. So I'm willing, remember, the difference between hitting 220 and 240 is literally 1 or 2 hits a week. Seriously, it's 1 or 2 hits a week over the course of a season. So let's not go crazy here. I like him a lot. Jason Hayward, on the other hand, man, this guy is like, like a candy bar is empty calories. Jason Hayward is like empty stats. 11 home runs, 60 RBIs, hitting 240, 250, maybe steal 5, 10 bases. I mean, is that good? I don't think that's good. But the thing is that he's Jason Hayward. He was really good a few years ago. Great. What does that do for me? I want a guy who's good for me now. So I think he gets overdrafted because of his name. Certainly not because of his ability. All right, starting pitching, Darvish is the number 1 starter. He comes over from Texas and the Dodgers. Now he's with the Cubs, wanting to be with a winner. Hey, you're with the Cubs. You're going to win a lot of games. Still strikes out a lot of guys. Let up a few more home runs than we're used to last year. Let a little prominent. And now you're going with the wind in Wrigley. If the wind's blowing out, he could have a few home runs here. So I think his ERA may hover around 3.7, 3.8. This is still a very good pitcher. I just don't know if he's a star. It's a very good pitcher, though. But I'm not drafting Yu Darvish like a star. I feel the same way about John Lester. John Lester, velocity's down a little bit. Home runs are up. Walks are up. 34 years old, throwing a lot of innings. Maybe he's on the wrong side of pitchers right now. I just don't see me drafting Darvish and Lester. I just don't see it. That doesn't mean they're not good, and I'm not disrespecting them at all. They're just not guys that I'm probably going to take. But I might take Kyle Hendricks. I would. Guy only threw 140 innings last year, but only 126 hits. Had 123 strikeouts to 40 walks. Love this guy. And what I like most about Kyle Hendricks is that I think he slides in as a really good third starting pitcher on a fantasy roster. Really good SP3. Okay? Jose Quintana, same thing. This guy finally had 200 strikeouts, right? Pitched very well. 207 strikeouts to 61 walks. The whip has always been pretty solid. And now he's in the National League for the year. Maybe he's more comfortable. And remember, when you're pitching in the NL, the number 9 hitter is a pitcher. So the ERA should go down from 4.15. I like Jose Quintana. I've always liked, I think he's a solid pitcher. So I would rather get Hendricks and Quintana than I would Darvish and Lester. Why? I can take Hendricks and Quintana later and still get value elsewhere in the draft. I think Darvish is going to go, let's see where Darvish in one of my leagues. Let's see. One moment, please. Why is this not going? All right, we'll have to get it there. I want to see where Darvish went in the league I'm doing the draft and go plus here. I think Darvish went, in round 4. I'm not taking him in round 4. Not taking him. No interest in round 4. Not my guy there. Not my guy there. So I'm just throwing that out there for you. I'd much rather have the value with Hendricks and Quintana. Much rather the value with Hendricks and Quintana than I would with Darvish and Lester. Because I know what I'm getting with Darvish and Lester. I know what I'm getting. Right? All right. Now, lastly for you, let's take a look at the bullpen. Brandon Morrow was lights out last year. Lights out. Theo Epstein loves this guy. Says he's got electric stuff. He's a star. He's 33. I'm with you. I like him too, Theo. But I can't go all in. Now, here's a number for you. In 43 and 2/3 innings last year, do you know how many home runs Brandon Morrow let up? 0. That's a good number. 0. 50 strikeouts to 9 walks. Maybe he's figured something out. I like Brandon Morrow. I do. I like Brandon Morrow a lot. I do a lot. A whole lot. But can we trust him? Can we trust him? The answer is I don't know. The answer is he hasn't done it before, so he becomes a high-risk, high-reward pitcher. I take him in round 12, maybe he saves 45 games, and he's the next great closer. Maybe he ends up flaming out in May 15th, and he stinks. It can go either way. That's the problem. That's the problem with Brandon Morrow. So I think he's a high-stakes pick. I look at Brandon Morrow as a high-stakes pick. He could be great. He could burn you. Do you have the guts to take him? Maybe you do. And now you're going to win. And finally, Carl Edwards Jr. Let me tell you some numbers here from Carl Edwards. 66 in the 3rd innings, 29 hits. That's obscene. That's obscene. 94 strikeouts in 66 in the 3rd. I'm loving that. So if Brandon Morrow loses his job, could Carl Edwards get it? Absolutely. Will he get it? I don't know. But if I drafted Morrow, I might take Carl Edwards real late, just in case. Just in case, I may take him real late. What do I have to lose? If Morrow doesn't hold the job, I have Carl Edwards Jr. By the way, doesn't Carl Edwards Jr. sound like he's a NASCAR driver? Does to me. So I like the Cubs this year. Contreras, Rizzo, Baez, Bryant, Russell, Happ, Schwarber. The only guy I don't love in that lineup is Hayward. And I'm sure Hayward's a good player, but just not for fantasy. Darvish, Lester, Hendricks, Quintana, Morrow. Look, great job, Theo Epstein, putting this together. This is a pretty darn good team. You're looking for fantasy goodness? You may find it with the Chicago Cubs. All right, guys, time now to put away the insurance cards, put away the copay. The office is closed, my friends. Tomorrow, we're going to cover the Chicago Pale Hose, the other side of town. You're either a Cub fan or a White Sox fan. If you're a Chicago fan, one team's on the way up, the Cubs, and one team is climbing their way up. I don't know. Are the White Sox going to be any good? We'll have to find out on tomorrow's podcast. This is Dr. Roto saying take care. Be well. What am I even saying? It's Dr. Roto saying be well. Take care.
Thanks for listening to the Scout Fantasy Show. There's never been a better time to join the Scout Army. Visit scoutfantasy.com. Use the promo ROTO for 2 months free. And don't forget, fantasy players, please thumbs up the podcast on the iHeart app. See you next time. Go Scouts!